while we are giving it just another minute or two for a couple of people, I'm just going to give you kind of a quick overview of what to expect today. So there is no sales pitch in this presentation. I could, but I don't want to. So I will ask you at the end if you want more information to let me know so that I can email you a video, but I'm not going to make you sit through a sales presentation if you're not interested in it. What we are going to do is talk about the number one problem that I see within the artist community that's keeping you from selling more art, and then also my framework for how to move past that, no matter how many followers you have or how your Instagram account's doing or all of that. So super excited you guys are all here. I am going to try to keep this under an hour, which I think I can do. So let's get this presentation going. This is the consistent income framework for artists. My spiel is that I help artists create more sales more consistently for higher prices with better work-life balance. And so that is the framework which I'm presenting to you today. And I forgot how to use this. There we go. Okay, so I'm Jessica Grata. I teach intuitive artist entrepreneurs practical and energetic strategies to create that consistent income and life balance. I have two kids. I have a 3-year-old and a 7-year-old, almost 4 and 8-year-old. I live in the Colorado countryside and I love growing my own food, even though we moved houses last year, my garden's kind of, but we're getting there, And also I thrive in that space between strategy and inspiration. So I'm kind of that middle brain. I'm not really a right brain or a left brain. I'm kind of right in the middle, which is generally a good match for most artists. They're a little on the right side and they need somebody to pull them to the left side, but not all the way because the brain just doesn't go that way. So my question for you is, if you feel like sharing, where do you struggle the most with selling your art? Is there anybody who would like to maybe just say a couple words about where they're having issues right now? Just out of curiosity. You can put it in the chat or you can unmute yourself. Becky, are you driving? Oh no, that's just okay, that's a picture. Cute picture though.
I'm not driving.
Well, I was gonna say, if you are, just be safe about it. It's okay, you can listen. Agnes, I feel like you're trying to unmute yourself, or are you working?
Hello.
It's I'm calling you out.
To see you all. I'm working, but I can.
You're working. That's okay. That's okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, I can say a few words what I am struggling now. Like I feel like I don't have much traffic on my website. And I don't know why is that. Maybe because I sell a lot on Instagram. and
that's not really a problem.
No, it's not. But sometimes I wish, like, my goal, it will be like just to paint big canvases and, just paint and put them on the website. And that's it. That's the golden dream that I don't know.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So this is the challenge, like a big challenge for me. And I am kind of trying to don't think about it so much right now because I am very busy with ornaments. But once I am done, I will definitely go back to it. And I hate, yes. And I also hate collection launches. So yes, maybe those things goes together. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw some head nodding there.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So website traffic, want to work bigger, hate launches. Check. Anybody else want to share any words? If not, that's okay. We're going to go over all of those things.
I can share,
Yeah.
Jessica. I feel like I struggle with just like she was saying, traffic to my website, but also just like gaining traction in general, like trying to get more followers. I just saw someone say chasing people. I feel like I'm chasing people often. And I just don't feel like I'm getting the momentum that I want to get with my business. And part of that is because like I'm brand new to it, I think, but also because I don't think and I don't think I have like the marketing strategy that I think I would really love to see for my own brand.
Okay, great. Would you mind saying, when you say I'm chasing people, what does that mean? Tell me a little bit more about that.
I just feel like, so I think with an art business, because art is so personal, I think it's really hard for me sometimes to like share my, to share my artwork because it's so personal. And so it's like knowing what to share and what not to share and how much is too much. And like, also just, I feel like I'm talking like at people all the time and trying to get people engaged, but not really finding that engagement with people online. And so it's like, I feel like I'm just like, is that, or like, and people will say, I'm interested. And it's like, okay, like, and I'm following up with them. And then it just kind of like drops off sometimes. And like, sometimes it goes through. And I understand that that's probably like part of the business is like, you're not going to have every person follow through with everything. But I do feel like when I'm following up with people, I'm not necessarily always getting the same response back. Like, oh, I'm interested. And then like, you get
Silence.
Yeah.
Cool. We are probably not going to talk about following up today because there's not enough time, but I do love that topic. Maybe that's a workshop somewhere. Following up. I'm writing that down. Okay, great. Oh, there's some stuff in the chat too. Let's see. Clementine said, I'd love getting my art scene outside my close circle, which is currently the PD. I don't know what that means, but that's okay. I get the gist of it. Monica, I'm just at the beginning of building my art business. So in the learning phase, I'm excited to start selling my art soon. Karen said, same here, reaching an audience other than friends and family. Victoria also said chasing people. Interesting. I hadn't heard that phrase before, but apparently it's a thing.
I just saw her say it and I was like, oh yeah, that's exactly.
Oh, okay. Great. Great. Not knowing if they're interested in actually buying, decreasing reach and likes on LinkedIn and probably every other social platform, but I know Victoria used LinkedIn the most. I'm not excited about one-on-one conversations anymore. I just wanted to sell something. Whitney said, I often stop myself from creating because I'm worried it won't sell. But of course it won't sell if I don't create. Yes, I feel this way, especially with higher priced originals. We're going to talk about this, Whitney. I sell prints really well, but the higher priced items I struggle to even attempt to sell. Great. So thank you for sharing that because I just want to like make sure I'm on the right track with this presentation and make sure that I can kind of pick out like little bits and pieces to share based on where you guys are at. So here's the traditional advice for selling art that if you've taken other courses or other, I don't know, programs, usually this is the model that is taught. So number one, you're going to post on social media. Number two, you're going to gather follower emails, probably sell some on social media too. But you don't want to only stay on social media because, you know, what if like Agnes's account got hacked and it took her 6 months to get it back. She had 13,000 followers. That sucks. I might have made that number up, something like that. But number three, you're going to gather those follower emails so that you can send emails to them. And number four, that's how you're going to sell your art. Yes? Everybody heard that? Okay, so here is, we're going to call it a problem. It's not necessarily a problem. It's why you are not getting what you want as fast as you want it. Let's put it that way. So problem number one, posting on social media. And like I said, I made this 2 years ago. So these numbers are probably higher. Like they've probably gone down since then because more and more people have joined Instagram and Facebook in the meantime. So an average post on Instagram, but we're going to go with them anyway, will be seen by about 10% of your followers. So you put all this time in, send a post. If you have 100 followers, 10 people are going to see it. On Facebook, it's about half that because Facebook's been around longer and there's more people on Facebook. Problem number two is gathering follower emails. So in a recent study, that if you said, click the link in my bio in an Instagram post, you're going to get about 2 clicks per post. And this was a study done with 7,000 followers. So you can decide where you fall on that spectrum. Maybe you get a couple more, maybe you get a couple less, but that's not a very high rate of return on saying, hey, click here. And then once you get them to that landing page, usually it'll convert between 1 and 3%. So if you say join my mailing list on a page on your website, about 1 to 3% of the people that see it are going to do it. Now they have just clicked through to Instagram, so it's probably going to be higher than that. So let's go with between 5 to 10, maybe even 20%, because they've already made that decision to go look at it. So a little bit higher there. Problem number 3, people don't only want to be sold to, so you've got to intermix those sales emails with newsletters that include value, and that turns into a thing where you have to be putting out more content. An average list is worth about $1 per subscriber per year. You can expect between 20 and 40% of your list to open each email. So I'm saying all this not to be depressing. I just want you to see like the reality of it, the statistics behind it, and that it's not you. It's not something you're doing wrong. It's the method that you're going about it with. So if you skip the email list, people aren't always going to remember to go check your social media page. They're busy living their life. And if that machine goes away for whatever, all that following is worthless. So let's do some math. So you have 1,000 social media followers, you do 30 posts a month. Oh, that's a lot. And you get an average of 2 website clicks per post. Let's say half the time you say, join my email list, and half the time you say, view a product on my website. So that equals about 30 product views, which means about 1 sale every 3 months. It's not great. Especially considering some of you said, my prices aren't low, are low, I don't want to charge the higher prices, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. So on the flip side, let's say we got 30 people looking at the mailing list form, and 3 of those people sign up. We're assuming a 10% sign up rate here. So the highest that I had on that other page, which means your list is going to grow by about 36 people over a year's time. Some of those people are going to unsubscribe too, and that's okay. But that means you have a list of about $36 per year. When we're looking at that, 1 subscriber is worth $1 per year number. Okay, so that pricing stuff is done. We're not going to talk about that. But to be a business person now, to run a business that works, that you care about, that you love, you don't need millions of customers. This is a quote by Tim Ferriss. You only need 1,000 true fans. A true fan is defined as a fan that will buy anything you produce. They will drive 200 miles to see you sing. Like my husband is completely obsessed with Pearl Jam. He wants to like follow them to every city they go to. He doesn't care if he's seen them a billion times. He's going, right? They're going to buy the hardback. They're going to buy the paperback. They're going to buy the Audible. I'm a true fan of James Clear. I don't know if you guys know who that is. I've read his book like 3 times. I have all the copies, whatever. I'm on him right now, which is why I brought him up. They're going to purchase your next figurine sight unseen. These true fans, these are the people that you want in your business, in your orbit. So I can only see part of my screen. Sorry. Just do that. I can't see you right now. Just see that. I want to buy, this was a testimonial of someone who worked with me in the past, and she had 1 person on her newsletter. We talked about how she could give that extra attention to that 1 person, and she ended up selling a big piece. She might have sold 2 or 3 pieces. I can't remember actually right now, but that's a much better conversion rate than what I was showing you before, right? Another customer that used to work with me, another client, we'll call her. In 1 month, she sold a $6,000 mural, and this was as she was just getting started. Like she was making little to no money per month. She sold 2 paintings and a card deck, and she got in her first gallery show just by creating that momentum and following this framework that I'm about to teach you. So how do you create true fits? That's the question that everyone is wondering, right? I'm not going to go super deep into this because there's a lot to it, but I do want to show you that this right-hand side, this is what we were talking about before, is this content marketing. That's what we were showing you with the website, with the emails, with the social media. When you are only doing content marketing, you need big numbers, lots and lots of people to create less and less sales. Like it's not fun. When you add relationship marketing in there, they start to bounce back and forth off of each other. The relationship marketing makes the content marketing easier, and the content marketing makes the relationship marketing easier because it helps you find people. It helps you have those conversations, which you put back into your content marketing and on and on. And it's just this beautiful cycle. So I'm going to break it down even a little bit further for you. If you had a chance, I sent you a worksheet. This is a version of that worksheet. If you didn't have a time to print it off, just grab a piece of paper, essentially make a triangle and divide it into 3 sections. So 2 lines makes 3 sections. And then you're going to take each of those sections and put 2 more lines in it. So altogether, you're going to have 9 sections. Anybody need a minute? I feel like I can keep going. Okay, so this bottom section, we're going to name this Create a Solid Plan. This is your foundation. This is where the important decisions get made. And when I say important decisions, I don't mean solid rock will never change. I mean right decisions for right now. And this is also the thing that most people think, I need this part to succeed, and I don't really need anything else. That's not true. It's only a third of the triangle. There's 2 whole more sections after this. 10, 20. Are we doing okay? So, okay, so this first section inside of Create a Solid Plan is identify your ideal art buyer. How this is going to work for the rest of the presentation is I'm going to share 3 secrets or insights or observations that I've learned over the years of working with clients that help you with each of these sections. And then I'm going to ask you to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, how good you think you are at this. You don't have to share your answers with me. This is for your personal knowledge. So totally open. You can be vulnerable if you want. Like if you think you're crap at it, put a 1. That's okay. If you think you're really good at it, put a 10. Up to you. Okay. Let's see. I feel like I'm hearing somebody else. I'm going to Clementine, could I ask you to mute yourself? And then if you want to talk, unmute, but just for background noise. Okay, so section number 1, identify your ideal art buyer. Tip, secret, insight number 1. We're going to forget that made up customer avatar exercise. You guys know what I'm talking about? Some of you, maybe. Okay, so what the customer avatar exercise is it's taught in most programs these days. You have to make up a made up person. So what's their name? How old are they? What do they drive? What kind of coffee do they drink? All of those kinds of things. The only use that I have found for that exercise is if you want to run Facebook ads or Instagram ads. Other than that, crumple it up, throw it out. So your ideal art buyer, people buy your art, like Becky was saying, because it's personal to you. It's something that comes out of you. So your ideal art buyers are people who connect with you, your values, your opinions, possibly your style or your subject, and this is the most important part, who you love to be around. It's really hard to create a relationship with someone you don't like or who feels weird to you or who you don't know how to talk to. It's just not a thing. It would feel very fake and weird and gross in my opinion. So that doesn't mean that they have to connect with you and your values and your opinion and your art subject, but the more of those that they do, the stronger the connection. Yes? So the other thing number 3, which is really helpful, is having a list of these people so that you know who to nurture, who to spend your time on. You're not going to have time to talk to every person you've ever known or who is following you or who's on your email list. That's not realistic. But when you start creating a list and having something that you can look at, it starts to feel solid, starts to feel tangible. You know who to go to when you want to invite people to an art show, or when you just want to not feel like you're sitting behind a computer all the time and like being in me land, but having relationships with the people around you. This is going to help you with that. Some side effects of being good at identifying your ideal art buyer. 1, it helps you get really clear on your thing. And that doesn't mean your thing forever. Most people in my orbit don't only do one thing for the rest of their lives. Usually they kind of morph between this to that, to that, to that. And there might be some common threads in there, but they're going to change over time as you as a person evolve. But it's going to help you know, what is my thing now? It's also going to help you understand where to look. If one of the things that influence, let's say, I'm looking at my wall right now. I have this affirmation and it has some of my values in it. So nature is one of my values. So I know that artists who work with nature, who care about nature, are probably someone I'm going to have something in common with. And maybe that's just one connection point, but that gives me a place to start to identify, oh, you're someone who loves nature. I love nature. Oh, I saw that cool tincture that you made, and like, I want to engage with this person. Gives you that. It also helps you understand how to narrate your art. So when you understand what you care about and who you care about and what your values are and all of that, your art stems from that same place as you. You and your art are the same. So it helps you know how to talk about it. That second section, don't forget, rate yourself. How do you feel you are on your ideal art buyer?
Jessica, did you say 1 to 10?
1 to 10, whatever you want. I'm not going to look at it. So if you wanted 1 to 5 or 1 to 100, I don't care. But just to give you some rules, 1 to 10. All right, so the second section is nowhere to spend your time. Okay, so insight number 1, you decide how many hours you should work. Less hours may or may not mean slower growth depending on the activities you choose. So I recently sent out an email about, what was it? Repeated brave action steps lead to quicker growth. So if you're doing busy work inside of, let's say you decide I'm working 20 hours a week. So if you're doing busy work inside of that 20 hours, you're still going to have slow growth. But if you're taking brave actions inside of that, 20 hours a week is probably equal to 40 hours a week of what you were previously doing. Half of those hours that you decide on need to be dedicated to the art. Usually, not usually, a lot of times, when people start trying to sell their art, they stop making as much art, which is problematic, right? You're only making, you created this business because you want to make more art. You want to spend more time doing it. Let's not lose sight of that. By the way, this is what it's called. All of these sections start working together. You're going to start noticing this. The amount of content, number 3, the amount of content you put in, the amount of content you put out should be decided based on the amount of hours that you decide to spend on content, not the other way around. So instead of saying, well, I think I need to send 1 email, do 1 blog post, write 3 social media posts, do 5 stories. Instead of deciding that way, you say, okay, I've got 5 hours for content. What's the most important thing? I'm going to start there and I'm going to work my way down. There is something to be said for being consistent with your content, but not at the expense of you making money. So go ahead and rate yourself. How do you feel like, based on these insights, or secrets, or rules, whatever you call them, how do you feel like you are about knowing how to spend your time? Side effects of knowing how to spend your time. You get more done in less time. Woohoo! If you don't have enough time, I know it's really counterintuitive, but this summer, I was finding myself getting back into that trap of saying, I need to do X, Y, and Z, and just spending however much time it took to get those done. I was feeling stressed out. I was feeling frazzled. I was not paying as much attention to my kids as I wanted to. And so I went in and set limits. I've got this much time for this much time for this. Here's when I'm gonna do it. And then I get to stop. And guess what? Even though I was probably working 35 hours a week and I set myself a 20-hour a week, I still got the same amount of stuff done because that ended up cutting out all the busy work. It helps you remove those marketing blocks because you're like, well, I only have so much time. And so I guess I'm just gonna do it. And it helps you find a way that feels good to you. That's really important to me, is that your marketing feels good to you. Like, who was it that said, I think it was Agnes, I hate launching. You don't have to launch. It's something you can do. Don't have to do it. Most of my clients don't launch, actually. There's a couple that do. Number 3, or whatever, tier 3, sure. Build income potential. This is about what you're selling, how you're pricing it, making sure you have enough work to make the money you want to make. So number 1, it's simple math. If the amount you have for sale does not exceed your income goals, there's a 99% chance you're not going to hit your goals. Let's say your goal is $2,000. You want to make $2,000 a month, but you only have $1,000 worth of stuff for sale. Guess what? You're not going to make $2,000. But if you have $2,000 worth for sale, you're probably still not going to make $2,000 because some stuff takes longer to find its rightful home. And so assuming that everything you have is going to sell is not a recipe for good vibes. That's a recipe for stress. Now, if you have $3,000 or $4,000 worth of stuff for sale, then you're getting in good shape, which is why earlier I said, hey, if you're not spending half your time making art, probably not having the amount of art you need. Number 2, is this? Sorry. Big pieces. We talked about big pieces being something that we're scared of making because we don't know if they're going to sell, but they can't sell if you don't make them. That one? Yes. And you can always come up with more ways to sell them, more ideas to try. But that's not the only reason why you should make them. You shouldn't just make them so that they will sell. You should make them so that your small and your medium pieces become more attractive. If I go to a show opening and there's a wall with this big, amazing piece and it's $10,000, I'm like, well, I love that, but I can't spend $10,000. You better bet I'm going to go look at all the other stuff real hard and say, is any of this something I want instead? Because this person wowed me I'm impressed. I want to own their stuff. Number 3, test new ideas with your most affordable price before diving into creating an entire collection that in 3 months you're going to launch and cross your fingers when you have no idea how it's going to do. And that's not to say that if you have an idea and it doesn't go over well immediately that you need to drop it. That's not what I mean, but you need more information. You need to find out what's the missing link here before you put all this time and effort and energy into something that may or may not work. Okay, go ahead and rate yourself on that one. Okay. Benefits. I didn't really say this, but what I like to do is stick with a idea for a quarter. And if things aren't working, shift. But sticking with an idea for a quarter makes it a lot easier to sell multiples of that thing. So people have more time to get invested in it so that you can sell more than one to the same person. Actually, I have one client who just emailed me and said that she sold her most expensive piece that she had. And then the next day woke up and that same person had bought kind of the sister to it. And that they belonged together and that she couldn't bear to separate them. So it was really nice to see that really cool symbiosis. My word of the day is symbiosis, by the way. I haven't said it yet to you, but I've said it like 18 times. So expect it some more. It also helps you find your pricing happy point with where you should be pricing right now, but also increasing as each quarter goes on. So you learn how to sell here, and then you get up a little bit and learn how to sell here, up a little bit, and learn how to sell here. So this next section is called Build Confidence. I'm just gonna check. Oh, Emily, sorry. I saw in the chat just now. Okay, so this middle section, I will argue, is just as important as the foundation. And also just as important as the next section. They're like, if you're off on one of these, things aren't working. So this section is about having the tools to create confidence, letting your business be an experiment in creativity, instead of a reflection on you or how good you are, what your art is worth. It helps you take the emotion out of it and just be able to look at the facts and say, okay, well, this is working, this isn't working, and make decisions from there instead of nobody likes my work. What am I doing wrong? I'm a failure, all those yucky things. It also makes doing more easier. More easier, is that proper? More easy and more fun. So this first one, I was so glad that you said this earlier, is called Create Momentum. Yay. Okay, number 1. Becky, pay attention. The best momentum rewires our brains through repeated action, which creates belief, which makes you want to take more action. So we talked about those brave actions earlier. We're going to talk about it again in a second. But when you decide what the actions that you want to take are, and you just repeat and say, I'm going to repeat it until, oh, something happened. Oh, something else happened. Something else happened. And sometimes those are big things. Sometimes those are small things. But that creates that belief, which makes you want to do it even more. Number 2, when you train yourself to look for the opportunities already around you, you can gain momentum quickly. So 2 of my clients decided to start a podcast, and they were talking about what they learned inside of my program. And the thing that they said stood out the most to them was that both of them thought they didn't have any opportunities. There's nothing already on the table for them. But when they started looking through this lens, they saw them everywhere, which was so cool. And it was so much easier to gain momentum in that, from that place than it was from, I don't have anything yet, I need to, I have to, I gotta, all those things. Number 3, when you know where you want to go, you don't need to know all the steps. You just need to take the next one. This is where I get a little woo-woo. The next one will be revealed to you when you're done. It's about trust. If you want to go here, most of the time people say, okay, I'm gonna make a plan. And I'm gonna take a week and I'm gonna outline it. And I'm gonna have this step and 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 this step. And you get 3 or 4 in and you start losing momentum. And you start getting discouraged and maybe you didn't hit all the deadlines yet and things are frustrating. You may eventually get there and you may not. I used to do that and it never worked for me until I figured out I don't have to outline all the steps, because the magic is in you getting to a step and then you seeing a different way than you would have done it the first time, or a new opportunity pops up that helps you get there faster, or you can go around this way instead of focusing on that step-by-step to-do list. You get to follow the magic and trust. Side effects are basically the same. Beam in your success, recognize your accomplishments. When you get this momentum going, you could start to see the wins. And those start to add up. With it, like I said, they're big wins, they're small wins. Lots of small wins add up to big wins. It doesn't matter if they're big or small. But you see the wins. And so you're able and willing and desiring even to continue to move faster, to take the right steps. Next, write yourself. Yeah, I have to remember to say that. But if you have the worksheet, you might remember. Okay, face your fears. Nobody likes this one until they do. Number 1, like I said earlier, repeated bravery is the quickest path to what you want. If you have 5 hours a week to work and you're spending 2.5 hours of those on your art, that leaves 2.5 hours for marketing. Guess what you shouldn't be doing? Making lists, spending 2 hours writing 3 social media posts. That's going to not get you places, right? We have to decide what are the bravest things that I can do in that 2.5 hours. They're going to get me somewhere. Number 2, what is brave is actually different for everyone. I'm going to get woo-woo again. Your resistance, the thing you were resisting, things, there are multiple things, are your soul's roadmap. Any other path is going to be slow for you. So the things that you're resisting are the direction you're supposed to go in order to grow, which is going to get you what you want faster. You can go the other way and avoid all the things you resist, but it's going to feel like that content path that I described earlier. Number 3, bravery is a muscle that you can exercise. It's like working out, right? You start off, you're doing bicep curls. You got 5 pounds. That's a lot. It's hard. Next week, 5 pounds isn't so hard, but you're not getting any gains from it until you go up to 10 pounds. So it's not necessarily that it becomes easier. It doesn't. But if you want to keep growing, you have to keep being more and more brave. Side effects. This is a really amazing side effect that I love. Most of the time, you discover that you actually love the thing you weren't doing. Mine was video. I can't say I have one. My biggest one was video, public speaking, talking to like any kind of talking. I was like, hell no, I'm not gonna do that. I had a class in college called public speaking, and it gave me hives every time I walked into that thing. But I took little steps to get better and better and better and better at it. And now I'm like, this is kind of what I love doing. Like, I love being on video with you. I have a podcast, I have a YouTube channel. Like, I don't even recognize myself from 10 years ago because I took the steps to be brave about it. And yes, it was not easy, but I did it. And now it's the thing that I love the most. Helps you get rid of your anxiety sources. So let's keep with the video thing. If video is the thing that you hate, but you decide, I want to do it for a while, every time you think I got to do it, it's going to give you a little anxiety. I don't get anxiety. I feel good with that. So we can start compounding by getting rid of all the things we don't want to do. We start actually liking doing them instead of being afraid of them. And it helps you get out of your own way. I haven't read these in a while. I finally made it clear that my art is for sale and made my first ever art sale less than 24 hours later. Sold 4 pieces. A family member who reached out about purchasing a few. 2 told me they're already planning on making future purchases and getting the message. So this person was really scared about saying it was for sale. Like, that was really hard for her. And that's not uncommon. I see that a lot. That was a path she had to follow in order to get what she wanted. Eventually, she could have just never told anybody that anything was for sale. And eventually somebody would have reached out and said, hey, is that for sale? And she would have sold something. But that would have been a much slower route than conquering that. I have art for sale. Third one is live your dream life now. These are less tips than they are questions I'd like you to think about. Because a lot of what the work that I do with clients is about reaching inside to find out what you're afraid of, or what path you want to take, or what is your way to do it. So number 1, what's the thing you want that's for later? I'm just gonna like shut up for a minute. Let you guys have 60 seconds for each of these. This is one I've been doing recently. Who do you want to be? What words do you want to describe you? It's a really good exercise. One of the things I start doing when I work with people is I give them an assignment. It's to watch this workshop that I did. And in it, there's a meditation where I guide you through these questions about what you want and how you want it and what it looks like. And then what happens from there is we have a call together and we take all of those answers and we create a 3-month strategy plan. No plan looks alike. It all follows this framework. But I love when I can help people find the career that feels like them. But it's not just about your career. It's about what do you want to be spending your time doing? Who do you want to be? But that all feeds into your marketing, and it like there is no, in my opinion, there's no separation. If your health is bad, your business is bad. If your money is bad, your eating is bad. If your eating is bad, like all these parts and pieces that we separate really feed each other. Okay, last section, we got 12 minutes. Connect with buyers. Yay. Okay, so far we've had the foundation, the resilience / joy / confidence, all of those pieces. Excuse me. Now we've got the doing. So the executing is what brings you what you want. If things aren't working, you go back to your foundation. If you get in the wobbles and you know what you want, and you know what you should be doing, but you're having trouble doing it, we go back to this middle section. They all feed each other. So the first one is connect with content. If you only watch this presentation from me, you would think I'm a downer on content probably, but I'm not. I think content is really useful and important when done right. It's just when that is your only strategy is when it's hard and discouraging. So number one, connect with content. The best content doesn't only feel like you're writing it to one person, it is literally written for one person. So if I were to take what we're doing right now, and let's say, I'm gonna go back to the chat. Whitney said, I often stop myself from creating because I'm worried it won't sell. I could write a piece of content to Whitney and send it to my email list, and I would get more responses because it was something that was on other people's mind as well. It wasn't something I'm just pulling out of thin air. I'm actually using my relationships and my interactions to feed my content, which is easier and more fun. Yes? Number two, each piece of content you create should have a purpose. Otherwise, you're only doing it to check off a box because someone said so, and I'm not a fan of doing things because you should. We all know about the shoulds. So you want to know your purpose. I like to help my clients decide those at the beginning of the month so that for the rest of the month, you don't have to think, what the heck am I doing? So I have this planner. This is a prototype. I don't have my actually finished one here. But let's see. At the beginning of every month, there's 2 pages in the planner that say, you know, basically like, what is your plan for the month? And one of those sections is based on your overall goals, what calls to action are you going to repeat all month in your content? And then what types of content do I want to focus on? It feels fun, it feels creative. Put it out that way. Right? You don't have to do the same thing all the time. For half of the year, I blogged. I haven't blogged in 3 months or more, but I decided to do a podcast. So I don't care. Like, I'm still putting out good content. It doesn't have to be one thing. You do want to have like some sort of consistency. You don't want to switch from month to month to month to month to month to month on some of your big stuff. But if you decide one month I want to do reels instead of stories or posts instead of carousels or whatever, great, do that. And I talk about Instagram because that's the platform I use. Oh, wait, sorry, getting ahead of myself. Number 3, you don't have to talk about your kids, fill in the blank, to make your content personal. You can use your thoughts, values, beliefs, emotions. So I get a lot of worried, I don't want to like tell everyone what's actually going on in my life. If you want to do that, great. But if you don't, that's okay. Because that's not the thing they're really connecting to normally. It's what are you thinking about? What do you believe about this thing? How are your emotions doing? Like, what's going on with you? You can share that inner part instead of the outer part. Rate yourself, please. Thank you. Going fast. Wants to end on time. Okay. Benefits. Helps you find your voice. Quit trying to be someone else. And less shame. That's fun. Okay, next section. Help buyers find deals. This is one that a lot of people have problems with understanding. And also one of my favorites to solve because it's not that hard. But number one, this leads to number one. If you're having trouble growing on Instagram, don't sweat it. There are much more efficient ways to help buyers find you. And I have a whole blog post about this. If you guys want, if you want some insight on that, I'm not going to get into it right now, but go check out my blog. I think it's called 4 Ways to Help Your Art Get Seen. Number 2, when you're being visible, don't look for buyers because that's discouraging. If you're just looking for someone to immediately impulse buy your stuff, it'll happen occasionally, but look for opportunities instead. Opportunities lead to sales. Like I said earlier, keep your eyes open, they're all around you. So if you are doing art fairs and you're only measuring your success based on how many sales you made at that art fair, you're missing 2/3 of the juice. Number 3, starting relationships with potential collaborators opens bigger doors. I like to add people that I might like to collaborate with to my ideal art buyer list so that I can nurture those relationships. So when at some point when I'm like, ooh, I have this idea, I'm not reaching out to random people out of the blue. I have something there. So how do we do on helping buyers find you? The benefits of getting good at this is that you can start to grow organically, which is also a side effect of the next one, but I put it there. So this client said, I'm scared of putting more effort into something I'm passionate about. It doesn't work for me. Made me really sad. And then she turned into one of my most successful clients and said, after I shifted my interest from connecting with people to sell to connecting with what interests me, it got easier and easier. I made one small connection, which made me happy. So it's also in line with that momentum. And then I kept going with 1 or 2 leads. And then I started to grow organically. And now I'm making about a sale a week. My heart is full. The next and last is engage your tribe. I showed you that chart earlier about the content and the relationship making. Let's go together. Number 1, one true fan is worth 100 followers. I could care less how many followers I have. That doesn't help me. Sure, if you get into the really big numbers, eventually it helps you. That's true. Because then we're back to the numbers game. But my strategy is more about building relationships. I don't even know how many I have. But if I have 2,000, I think it's more than that. If I have 2,000, then I feel like that's plenty for me to find my 100 ideal art buyers, get to know people, talk to people, have relationships with them. And then when they're ready, we'll work together. Number 2, people want to be special and remembered. And if you keep that in mind, you will love your business and you will love the outcomes. This is about being a person. Yes? Yes. Oops. If you remove, how do I want to say this? So many accounts that I see have this vibe of, I am the artist and you are my followers. Those accounts are the ones that are not getting the interaction. Nobody wants to feel like they're just a number to someone. Oops, sorry. I was taking a screenshot of this one. A business is symbiotic. So if you don't want to have a business, or if you just want to sell your art, but you don't really want to do anything but make art and put it out and be applauded for it, your business isn't going to go well. It has to be this ebb and flow of who are you? What do you care about? Who am I? What do I care about? How can I work all of that into talking about me and hoping that you hear it and finding the people that I love and bringing them in and having those relationships. A business is a relationship. Some of the benefits, making real connections, like not just hoping to make a sale, like making real connections if you're doing it right. And in turn, that is helping you make more money. It's kind of one of those weird things where you have to get over this. I am trying to build relationships, but I've got this ulterior motive. You've got to actually get rid of the ulterior motive in order to get the thing that you want, which is the money. And there's nothing wrong with wanting money, by the way. The bar has been raised. Good enough is no longer enough. Building businesses, offering your wares, expecting people to buy no longer works. Consumers expect more. Closer relationships, more transparency, more authenticity. To succeed, we need to shift from transactional thinking to relational thinking at even deeper levels. We have to up our game. Yeah. Okay, like I said at the beginning, there's no sales pitch here. If you want to hear about working with me, you can put a yes in the comments, you can email me, you can DM me, and I will send you a video about what it looks like to work together. Just information, no pressure. I would love to talk to anyone who's interested, and if not, it's totally okay too. If you're just here for the information, I'm here for it, okay? And it is now 11 o'clock. Feel free to leave if you need to leave. But I just wanted to ask, in case anyone felt like sharing, were you surprised about any of these, where you landed? Clementine, I got you.
Jessica, I'm happy to share on this one. I was looking at my scores and they're higher at the foundation, kind of like mid-range on the resilience and joy. And then connecting with buyers, those were my lowest scores that I gave myself. And I was really surprised by that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's something that I kind of naturally do with my marketing, but I realized how much of it is just like a one-sided putting myself out there and not really reaching out to who each of my people are.
Yeah.
And I find I have a lot of people who connect with me, but I'm not connecting with them. And most of that is like capacity and season of life.
Sure.
I can only do so much as a mom of 3 who's working and momming and all the things. But I think if I actually broke my time down a little bit better, as far as devoting, half of my time to my art and then the other half to marketing, I could definitely take more time to actually connect with those people and make those super fans, or true fans, as you called them, because it's like, I have those people and I know who they are, and I need to write down that list, because that's a good idea to have that list of 100.
That's what I was gonna say. Can I give you an assignment? Write
Yes.
them down.
Make my list. But yeah, I was surprised by that.
Even if you just write, okay, so you just said, I'm a mom of 3. I don't have that much time. It's my season of life. I get that. I'm a mom of 2, not of 3. But my current goal is to say hello or something 3 of the people on my list every workday. That can take 10 minutes. Like, it's not something that you have to touch point every single person every month or anything like that. Like, it's what you have time to do, but the little steps add up. So thank you for sharing.
Helpful, helpful, helpful.
Anybody else want to share? If not, it's totally okay. Back in the room. Oh, sure.
Jessica, I just want to say thank you, because I feel like, you know, I kind of shared at the beginning where I was at. And like having this chart really helped me see like where I'm kind of like what my strengths are. And actually what was interesting to me is like the middle part, I was my like my resilience and joy is actually like my strongest area. And so I think like it was just really good to kind of, and I've really loved like the emails we've been sending as well, just kind of like shifting my mindset in some ways. Because I think I love that, like the thing that I can focus on now is like the way that you've broken this down, and I can focus on the momentum and using that, you know, to help me connect with people, I think is like really helpful, because that was my lowest section. And I kind of know that as well. Like on Instagram, I have certain people who like reach out to me and who constantly follow like my stories and who are constantly liking things, but I'm not necessarily like engaging with them in the way that I could be. And I like really think that was really helpful, like to have that insight into like what my next steps can be. So I thought,
yes, which I forgot a slide, leads me to your homework. Find your highest and your lowest scores. I love, okay, so some coaches will like try to only help you improve the stuff you're bad at so that you don't have that lagging, and others will go with the stuff that you're best at and really focus on that, and so that you can like drag yourself forward. But when you get rid of, or sorry, not get rid of, when you practice getting better at your lowest score and you consistently execute your highest score, that's going to make a big difference. So I want you to look at where's your highest score and your lowest score, and name a habit that you can execute consistently, let's say over the next month, to help you improve and to repeat more success. So Becky, you just gave yourself some of that homework, but I want you to get real specific on it. Anybody else? Wrap up. Awesome. Well, lovely. I'm so glad you guys were all able to make it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And if you ever want to contact me, I'm just going to give you the secret. Don't email me. DM me on Instagram at Artist Market Co, because I check that the most and I have 4,000 unread emails. So yes. All right. Bye, everybody.